Hey planner friends! Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be setting up my small passion journal for the month of February. Let's get started. So here we are in my journal, and as you can see I've already sketched out pretty much everything that I'm going to be doing for this setup for my cover page and quote page. If you've already seen my monthly setup in my passion planner, you will know that pink is my theme colour for February, and I'm going super cutesy for my February setup in my bullet journal. So I'm using stickers from the Everything Cute Passion Planner sticker book, and then all of my theme colours are pink. So I've got 2 Crayola super tips and 1 passion marker, and I've started by lettering in the word February in this bubbly font, and then I'm filling it in with my passion marker. So this setup is quite a contrast from my January setup, which was all straight lines and square boxes. So I'm using lots of curves and abstract shapes throughout all of these setups to create this really cutesy look. I also got some new pens that I wanted to try out for this setup, and as always I'll have all of the stuff that I'm using linked in the description. So now that I've coloured in the word February, I'm going to go in with my Grey Stabilo fine liner and write out my usual monthly calendar underneath it, and then I'm going back in with my white Sakura Jelly Roll pen to add some white highlights into my monthly title to give it a little bit more depth. As usual, I'm going to have a little swatch of the 3 colours that I'm using throughout all of this setup in the bottom left hand corner, and for this month I've obviously gone with hearts because it is February and this is a kind of Valentine's-y setup, but not completely. I think an entirely Valentine's themed setup would make me lose the plot a little bit by the end of the month. To finish off my cover page, I'm layering some pink tissue paper and also some craft paper along the top of my spread and adding in a few stickers from the Everything Cute sticker book. And then we can move over to my quote page, where I'm starting off by drawing a border around the outside of the page with curved corners to keep that kind of bubbly theme going. My quote for February is one that I took from one of the February pages of my passion planner, and it's "If you feel empty, seek what fills you up," and I think that's perfect for this month. For some of the words I'm using that bubbly font that I used for the word February on my title page, and then for the rest of the quote I'm using one of my new Tombow Fudnosuke brush pens. I hope I'm saying that right, but I found a couple different pronunciations when I googled it and I'm not sure which one's right. For this setup I'm using the soft tip one, and there's definitely a bit of a learning curve with these pens that I have not managed to scale yet, but I'm getting there. I think at the moment it's mostly a case of me not taking my time and kind of rushing my writing as if I'm writing with a normal pen. To decorate around the outside of my quote page, I'm using my 2 Crayola super tips to add in some abstract shapes. So this is very similar to the kind of decoration I used in the back pages of my passion planner when I did the setup for that earlier this year, but I'm trying to include some more like heart-shaped abstract shapes, so it's a little bit more Valentine's and pink themed. Not gonna lie though, when I was editing this I realised that a lot of them just look like beans. But to make them look less like beans, I'm going in with my black fine liner around the outside to either draw like an offset outline of the shape, or in some cases to draw like a little plant or something in there. To finish off these pages, I decided that my little swatches in the bottom left hand corner of my cover page also needed a little bit of an offset outline so that they matched the abstract shapes on the left hand side page. So that's it for my cover page and quote page. Now we can move on to my sleep, energy and headache trackers for the month. So again, I'm starting off by adding in the titles in this bubbly font that I'm going to be using throughout all of my spreads. So I don't think that I've done bubble lettering like this since I was in school, and I'm now 30, but I'm definitely taking inspiration from the front cover. I think you can just about see it in the top left hand corner, but from the front cover of the Everything Cute Passion Planner book, because I was like, that's the kind of vibe that I'm going for with this setup. And I'm pretty happy with how these titles panned out, even though I just freehanded them and they're not perfect. Okay, so moving on to the actual trackers, and as usual I'm doing the same sleep tracker that I've done for the past couple of months, except I've rounded the corners this time just to mix it up a little bit. So along the top I'm going to have the hours of the night, and down the side I'm going to have the days of the month. I still put 31 spaces in even though there's only 28 days in February, so not really sure what I was thinking there, but I guess that's just the sort of mistake that happens when you sketch out your bullet journal setup when you have a horrendous cold. The basic gist of this tracker is that I draw a block from when I went to bed to when I woke up in the morning, and then I colour code it with how good my energy levels were for the next day. So I'm going to have my key on the right hand side and then just decorate around the outside of the tracker with a few little abstract shapes and a plant and some stickers from the Everything Cute sticker book. I try not to have too much decoration around either of these pages because once they're filled in they are very colourful. So you may have noticed that I have a washi tape or two up in the top right hand corner of the screen. I got those out to use within the setup and then never touched them, but one is from Paper Chase and the other one is a planner face washi tape. So next I'm going to set up my headache tracker, and I usually get inspiration for this tracker from looking at mood trackers on Instagram or Pinterest. So for this month I've decided to just use hearts because it is the month of February after all. So I was aiming for sort of like heart bunting, but I think what it's ended up looking like is a load of washing lines with hearts pegged to them. So I've just drawn out 28 hearts and attached them to the lines that I drew across the page, and then I've numbered them all from 1 to 28, and I will colour in each heart based on how good or bad my chronic headache is for that day. So I'm just going to add in the key for tracking my headaches and then a few more stickers here and there, and then we can move on to my weekly spreads. So for my weekly spreads this week, I basically had two ideas, and I did a kind of quarters version of them and then also a horizontal version of them. So for this first one, I saw this idea on a reel on Instagram and then I forgot to save it and I haven't found it since. So if I do manage to find it, I will link whoever's idea it was down in the description. But yeah, I don't want to take credit for something that wasn't my idea, I just made it pink. So as you can see, I've divided each page into 4 quarters, and then on 7 of those boxes I've drawn a black outline, and then around the outside of that outline I'm going to be adding in all of these abstract shapes in all 3 colours of pink that I'm using for this setup, and then going to go over those with my black fine liner. In the top left hand quarter of the left page I've added in some more of that pink tissue paper and craft paper, and that's what I'm going to be writing in the month of February in the same bubbly font that I've been using in my previous 2 pages. So with these abstract shapes, I'm adding in some that look like beans, some that are just kind of like wavy lines, and then some I have snuck in that look a little bit heart-shaped, just to keep that nod to Valentine's Day going through the spread. And then once I've added in all 3 colours, as I did on my quote page, I'm going to be adding in some black lines where I kind of do an offset outline of the shape, some where I just draw in a plant over the top of it, and some where I just draw a completely different shape, like different lines and stuff going across the page. There's no real rhyme or reason about what shape went where with this setup, I just kind of did whatever I felt like while I was setting it up. So now that I've added in all of my outlines, I'm going to start adding in the days of the week. So I'm just drawing a line across with my pink passion marker, and then I'm going to letter in capital letters each day of the week. And you'll notice as we go through this setup that I don't date any of my weekly spreads for this month. To finish off this spread, I'm lettering in the word Feb to the top left hand corner, and then I started writing in 2022, but I really hated how it turned out, so I grabbed a sticker and covered it up. And now we'll move on to my second weekly spread of the month. So for this spread, I'm starting off with some tissue paper and craft paper again, and then I'm using some of the letter stickers that come in the Everything Cute sticker book to add in my title for this week. As with the previous week, I've separated these 2 pages into quarters, and for 3 of the sections I'm using my pink passion marker to draw a border around those days. I'm then going in with my 2 Crayola Super Tip colours to add in some more of those abstract shapes around the page, and then adding in my abstract line work with my black fine liner. As you can see by the pencil marks on the page, I hadn't actually planned where any of this would go, I was basically just doing whatever felt right in the moment. For the days of the week that don't have an outline, I'm going back in with my passion marker and colouring in every other line of that section of the spread. And then I'm going to letter in each day of the week, again with my Tombow Fudenosuke pen. So that's it for the second weekly spread. Now we can move on to the third weekly spread, and this is basically going to be a horizontal version of the first weekly spread that I did. So I'm going to draw in the boxes and then add in all of the abstract shapes around the outside. The one thing that's definitely constant for all of my weekly spreads this month is adding in the pink tissue paper and craft paper. I am really enjoying having these sorts of layering things in my journal. I really love that they add a little bit of extra texture to the page. I'm then using the bubble font again and adding a sticker from the Everything Cute sticker book to finish off my title, and then we can add in all of those abstract shapes. The fine liner that I've been using throughout all of these spreads is a Uniball Eye fine liner, and it's not my favourite, but it's what I have, so it's what I'm going to use. I don't really like the way it writes. I think it's because it's like not a true fine liner, it's got more of a like ballpoint tip, and that kind of makes it skip when I draw long lines with it. We're now moving on to the final spread of this setup, and this is basically a horizontal version of the setup I did for the second week of the month. So as you can see, I've sectioned off my pages horizontally, and I'm using my pink passion marker to draw outlines around 3 of the days of this week's spread. I'm then going to go in with my Crayola Super Tips again to add in all of my abstract shapes, and then add the fine liner detail over the top. Of course, the pink tissue paper and craft paper makes another appearance for this final weekly spread, and as you can see, I'm just sticking these in with a regular old Pritt stick. To trim this piece of craft paper from the middle of my journal, I've used my craft knife, but for trimming around the outside, I've just used a regular pair of scissors throughout the whole setup. I just cut those bits out because I turn my planner every which way to kind of trim those edges. So to finish off this spread, I'm adding in my title, again in that bubbly font that I've been using throughout this entire setup, and then adding in some stickers from the Everything Cute sticker book. I'm then going to highlight over every other line using my passion marker for those days where I don't have an outline of the box, add in the days of the week, and then we can do a final flip through of my February setup. So we have my title page and quote page, my sleep, energy and headache trackers, 2 weekly spreads with the pages cut into quarters, and also 2 horizontal spreads, which I guess are also kind of quarters as well. I'm so glad I've realised this right at the end of recording my voiceover. But that's it, my very pink journal for the month of February. So that's everything for this video, friends. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye!